Onstage, onstage, chill time. Onstage, onstage, chill time. Onstage, onstage, chill time. Onstage, onstage, chill time.
Tonight we welcome the Impressions Collective to the stage of the Phoenix Theater. This is a jazz rap group from Sonoma County that we've been excited to bring on stage since their first performance on this stage a little over a year ago. Tonight we'll learn what they stand for, and later they'll play a set of that music. Please welcome to the program, the Impressions Collective.
Welcome.
Hello.
Thank you.
There.
Hey, how you doing?
That was a year ago?
I think so.
Yeah, that caught me off guard, too.
Had to be like,
Yeah, wow.
Damn.
I don't know, maybe a little
year.
less, right? A little less than a year ago?
It was prom.
Were we?
I think, right?
Oh, yeah.
It was prom, yeah. It was prom. Yeah.
Whoa, he's spot on. It was prom.
It was prom,
Yeah,
yeah.
you came in with your tux and like,
Yeah.
I had the tuxedo,
braids.
that's right. Yeah, I had a
Tux P,
tuxedo.
yeah.
It was actually me. It was my fault that we had to open because I requested that we do it earlier so I could go to prom.
Yeah.
And I felt bad about that, but
Yeah.
Yeah, so you were putting your personal life ahead of the Impressions.
you know, I did, but
Yeah,
the
but it was
impressions,
prom.
yeah.
You had like several $100 invested in this evening.
Yeah.
I rented a
But
tuxedo.
see, it's
Yeah, yeah.
like, you know,
Go with the
this
follow the
is
money.
the most important thing in your life.
That's true.
Yeah, P hot seat, bro.
No partner.
Isn't that
no,
right, Elias?
no.
Wait, but did you guys see his
thrill,
date for crying
No
out loud?
thrill.
Oh.
Yeah. I was
Big
getting to
time.
that. No thrill of sexual interaction is more important than this group right here.
Hey.
And if you want this group to be successful, you got to put this first.
That's the realest.
That is
Yeah.
the real
I mean, does anyone disagree?
I don't.
Shoot.
I don't disagree.
Look, sexual partners come and go, but the Impressions, this is now. And
I'll
we
just
need to
say I
dedicate
don't
ourselves.
disagree.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, your actions are not quite speaking louder than words. I'm just planting the seeds of conflict, trying to get my episode going. You know.
Devil's advocate.
Smooth.
I
Yeah,
like it.
exactly. It's you in screenwriting, you introduce a gun in the first act, and then it goes off in the third act. I don't know who's going to get it.
Is there a bomb
Maybe
under the
me.
table? Just
Yeah.
Probably the
What else
goal.
do we need to do?
Well, I mean,
Suspense.
we'll see. We'll see which one of us is left standing at the end of the night. Hey, what's up? How's everybody doing?
Pretty.
chilling.
Yeah, man.
Pretty good all around.
You know, in the intro, I was like, all I said was, we'll learn what they stand for. I'm sure we're going to learn other things tonight. But I feel like this group is, it's really thoughtful in what they put into their lyrical content. You know what I mean? I feel like this is a group that stands for stuff. Would you agree with that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
No doubt.
I think because we'll grow. I think because we're looking towards the future in terms of lyrical content and like gelling it and making our lyrics more conceptual and like more together. You know, individual, like me, P, and Josh, like we want it to be more together. You know, I think we all individually have like really, really good messages and all have thoughtful lyrics. But you know, our goal is to be better and better and better. So yeah, I think that's a good. That's a good start. Yeah.
So what you're saying is like you kind of all have different things that you write about, and what you're trying to do is like gel those and make them kind of mesh better.
Yeah.
Definitely. And a lot of it is like political in
Yeah.
a sense, and like it's things that you wouldn't necessarily talk about in a conversation with someone. So it brings like uncomfortable topics to like our actual show, and kind of goes along exactly with what you're saying.
I think you told a story once at a show about being arrested or something, and when I was there, I was like, honest
It was
to God,
on the stage.
honest to God, I was like, I wonder if he really got arrested or if that's just for the show.
It was the day before.
No shit.
I got arrested the night before I went on stage. So, yeah, me and my...
Wait, were you just stalling? Were you stalling? Is that why you told the story? Were you just like, I feel like telling the story?
No, you don't remember, man? Because it was on the stage.
It was the
And
intro for Jazz Rhythm and Blues.
I think that was one of the first times we, it was the intro for Jazz Rhythm and Blues. For Jazz Rhythm and Blues, there was a long time before I was going to come in on vocals. So I had this kind of traumatic experience where, me and my homie was coming back from a party, and I was wearing, my regular black hoodie, and I got profiled. One cop pulled his gun on me and my homie, and I was like, oh damn, put, ass on the ground, hands up. I didn't even think about it. And then all of a sudden, 2 more cops pull up, and then I'm like, oh they all got their guns on me. It's middle of the night, and then I hear like a screech down the road, and I'm thinking, oh, maybe they're looking for somebody that's screeching down the road. Like, no lie, 4 other cops pulled up around the corner, and 2 cops pulled up right on cue, got their guns out. I was bugging. I was like trying to keep my eyes forward, like, don't move, feel me? Me and my homie, he was in the Army, and they, did the whole procedure, get up, go slowly. They did him first, and long story short, yeah, I got through it, and they threw me in the back of the car, asked me a whole bunch of questions, and cuffed me and all that, and went through my wallet and my phone and all this other stuff, and you just asked me like regional, like what have you been doing tonight, blah blah blah. I lied, but I wasn't doing
Well, you
nothing.
had to.
yeah, but I wasn't doing nothing at all, nothing serious. They was looking for a guy with a gun, so they was looking through bushes, all this other stuff. I was like, I ain't do nothing. So they put me in front of this bright ass, like big ass light. Like I couldn't see crap for like a good 3 minutes. And I was like, at that point, then I was like, okay, this is a lot, bruh. I was like, okay, I have not done anything, and this is beginning to be too much. Funny end of the story is that they took my phone, and then they put all my stuff out on the hood of one of the guys' cars. They let me loose, told me I was good to go. It was a misunderstanding. It took 45 minutes throughout this whole process, middle of the night. And so I grabbed all my stuff, walked down the street, didn't have my phone. Cops took my phone. I was like, they wasn't even supposed to take my phone because it was in my pocket. Like, you ain't got no right to take my phone out of my pocket like that. But, so we ended up having to call the cops on my homie's cell phone, meet us at a church down the street, and the cop had to pull up, hand me my phone. My homie got a Snapchat recording of the cop pulling over, hey, sorry about that, and gave me my phone. It was funny. It was funny.
So, I mean, what a perfect lead-in for that song.
Yeah.
Because you do focus on police brutality as one of the things.
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit. I mean, you'd mentioned that, like, this project is a good way to kind of address uncomfortable topics.
Yeah, honestly, it's just like we ended up all writing very conflicting lyrics. Like Josh is rapping a lot about American politics and like kind of the issues that we have going on. And then it just kind of fall into place like that. We didn't even really talk about it. That's just kind of how it happened.
What do you feel like the most uncomfortable things that you've addressed, or like uncomfortable conversations that have come from this band? What are some of those?
Well, are you asking from my lyrics or just in general?
Well, either way, whatever comes to mind.
Well, I will say it's a little soon because I know it will come up, but in Black and Blue, Robert goes a lot into about police brutality and systematic racism, with the country, with like everything in politics and whatnot. And that's a big conversation that our politicians are having right now. And not a lot of people want to talk about it because everyone's so far to the left or far to the right on it. And, when we're coming into shows and we like hit people with these very just deep, like, lyrics and like such conflicting concepts, it's just like takes people aback, and that's kind of the main reason I'm speaking for Robert now.
I get it. Yeah. You need content that's like conflicting, and it makes people think, you know what I'm saying? I like sound, that's why I'm in it. You love music, you love sound, right? But there's nothing better than hearing a great sound and then hearing like somebody sing or hearing somebody rap over it, hearing a line or two, and you're just like, I'm there with them. Like, I understand exactly what they're talking about, and I feel it. Like, I feel the feeling that they're feeling, So that's what I try to go for. And talking about like uncomfortable, things that you like talk about. None of that's necessarily uncomfortable for me, because this is how I live my life. That's what I do. I write. You have a bad day, you write about it, but it goes, broader. Like, you have a bad 6 months, you gotta write about that shit, So definitely, like, I would say Move Love was a song that I think I first performed on this stage as well. And it was in the works at that time. But yeah, songs about, 3 different people, the songs about, 3 different topics in a way, and it's one of my favorite songs that I've ever written, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Move Love is a really good one.
It seems like this group doesn't shy away, though, from being political.
Not at
having
all.
those conversations.
To answer your question, whether people agree or disagree with what we're talking about, we address it and we bring it to the table. So either side can be like, oh, wow, I don't agree with that. Or like, oh, damn, that's exactly what I believe. It's just topics that are hot right now. So whether you want to think about it or not, we're forcing you to. And even though the music sounds good and you can just bob your head to it and not think about it, be real shallow about it, when you get deep, you start thinking really like just conceptually. We force that so that you can't just be like, oh, it's good music, but there's not much to it. There's a lot to it.
True.
I was actually gonna say, I thought back to what you were saying. Like, I actually remember a verse that like I used. We don't really play the song too much anymore, but like Untitled 5, like that's that verse was like really politically loaded, and like it was, that one had to do with a lot with it was just like I wrote that verse when there was just the whole like back and forth with like DACA. And I know a lot of people personally, like just a lot of people in my personal life that are immigrants and people that are under DACA and people who are dreamers and stuff. And that just like, when all that stuff was coming out, like it just really hit me hard. And so like my whole verse is just like from like the perspective of like pride for immigrants. And that was like something that I pulled in the verse.
I think an interesting thing to think about is like 7 people in this group. Kind of a tough question if the answer is yes. Is there any sense of discomfort among any of you about pushing people's buttons politically and about making them think about stuff that is uncomfortable?
To be honest, I'm definitely going to say no. We get along pretty well. Like, one of our favorite traditions now after any kind of practice or performance is we'll go to In-N-Out. And it's almost guaranteed to spark some kind of weird political discussion or philosophical debate, or we'll argue about God, or whatever political stance. We do not.
Okay, let's go off ramp. Let's come back to my question in a minute. Let's talk about God. What's the conversation you've had about God?
Okay, you're putting us on the spot. Okay, well, I don't want to speak for everyone, but everyone knows that I'm definitely probably the most probably hardcore atheist. But I know there tends to be some varying views. I know Joe can probably speak to him. He's got some kind of belief, Oh, sorry.
No, that's all right.
Lips to mic.
Yeah. Joe definitely.
Lips to the mic.
Joe definitely has some belief. Josh had some interesting takes. Everyone has, a lot of different, it's a wide spectrum. I know I take the extreme, no God, we don't need any of that kind of stuff.
Not even open to the possibility of it.
Very, we're talking real small. It would be hard.
Bruh.
And I want to talk about it, but what I'm kind of doing here is an example of what you do on stage, but politically.
Yeah.
It's like, it's easy at an In-N-Out table where it's just you all chatting to have a conversation because it's safe.
Yeah, those conversations.
The 7 of you are it's insular.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
No one is going to be upset because you're all friends. You all care for each other.
Yeah.
It's a lot more interesting and dangerous when you're on stage or when you're on a podcast and you start talking about these things where people are like, oh, fuck, oh, I don't agree with that.
Yeah,
dude.
Yeah, no, for real.
For sure.
Me and Pete were just having this conversation last week. I had a freak out.
Yeah.
Right. So I was at my you remember that? I was at my girl's house. We was talking late night, 3:00 in the morning, laying down. You lay down and you forget about your muscles. You forget about everything in the world, bro. It's like you just by yourself in your head, right? And I'm really analytical. I get in my head a lot. And it's like, bro, I started thinking. I'm like Derek over there. I'm like, man, there ain't no God. That's how I've been hardwired since I was a child. Nobody put it in me, just me. So, man, think about. I had a huge freak out. Think about, well, what does this all mean? Not what is my purpose? I'm not thinking about the fate. I'm not, that's kind of the indication, the indicative of fate. It's like I'm thinking one day I'm not gonna be allowed to think anymore. One day I'm not gonna be allowed to speak anymore. These are, days limited, all that. You heard all the phrases and coin phrases, all that. But it's like every second is just another second, and then eventually your second's going to add up. You're going to be gone. And when you're gone, blank. You're not allowed to. There's nothing that you can do. So I got wrapped up in that for a few days. I mean, I freaked out one time, a few days. What did I do? After a few days of still being in it, went over to my boy's house, chatted it out. Man, he's got completely different views from me. He's very religious.
Well,
He's religious. You have religion.
He's spiritual.
He's a spiritual man.
Yeah. That's more fair to say.
Okay, but we definitely clashed. We definitely had different opinions, and it was like, bro, this is how I feel. And he was like, bro, look about it more broad. And I was like, nah, I'm looking at it too broad. You know what I mean? Tell me to, whatever. But we got through. We had a great conversation, and we recorded after that. That's what that's what we bring to the band for sure.
Yeah. So not very religious.
Not very religious.
So I'll hit you with it. So so my mom's side, they're Jewish, and they're real religious. They're Messianic Jews, so they believe that Jesus is their savior and all that. And I grew up going to church, every day, singing songs, praying to God and whatnot. And I went to this Jewish summer camp. You go, you read the Bible, you sing songs, and it's all about God and everything. And I accepted Jesus Christ as my savior at a very young age because I felt spiritually inclined. I've definitely felt some some heavy moments where I was like, whoa, this is an entity. It's not just me. I'm not just on earth. There's something higher than this. And then as I went on living, you know, growing up about like 14, 15, my pops was really, he's very pessimistic with religious views, and he's, I would say, atheist at a point, but then he turned to more spiritualism, like Native American type feels, how like, you know, like there's the spirit of the deer and the spirit of the sun and the spirit, like everything has a spirit or a God, and like it all comes together, and it's like kind of like living in harmony, you know. But for me, he instilled doubts into my mind, and then I kind of was just like, geez, I guess it's kind of unrealistic to look at it like there's a white man in a robe with a beard living in the clouds. You know, that's just not very realistic. And then you look at everything, you know, with Catholicism and Christianity, how things just kind of was all for money and all for control, and it has a really bad history. And so I'm going to go off on a limb and personally say, for myself and my own views.
Make some news here.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Breaking, you got a headline up there?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, in my own view, religion is settling for comfort. You have nothing to believe in, so you need something to believe in, and then you take on a faith. But when you take on that faith, it all depends on what you're going about it. You know, if you live by the Bible, you live by the 10 Commandments, you believe that slavery is okay, and you also believe that gay marriage is not okay. You know, and you have all these views, these all very traditional views, and it's just not. It doesn't seem to mesh well with society today, and it just seems unreasonable and unrealistic. So I couldn't stand by that, you know. I can't stand by, you know, like someone starting a religious war in the name of God, but then having very non-moral purpose, like a purpose and views, you know. So I couldn't stand by that, and I feel that there's an entity that is higher than us, you know. But it's not a white man in a robe. It's more like space, like energy, you know, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah, bro. I feel you, man. Energy.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Real hippie with it, you know.
No, I definitely feel.
But yeah,
that.
that's how I feel about that.
Yeah, I feel like religion is like organized. Like when it's organized, it's religion. When it's personal, it's spiritual.
Like faith, you know. I definitely get that. But just to clear it up, like one of the most influential people in my life is overly religious. She recently died, but overly religious. She had a gigantic influence on me. I actually don't know this, so I'm gonna ask you, Cole, are you religious? No, not religious either. We got a whole bunch of like, hold on, Joe, you religious?
You know, for me personally, I'm just gonna kind of go on a little bit.
Lips to mic,
I'm gonna go a little bit more
lips.
into it. But basically, I see that a lot of people believe in God. I kind of see my spirituality in music, personally, just because I listen to a lot of like figures that were probably religious, like, you know, John Coltrane, he was religious, and his works are super touching, you know, that I could feel something out of that. Yeah. That, you know, I just don't really vibe with a lot of the prejudice that I've seen in religion in my past.
Man, goddamn.
And, you know, I came up in the church system, you know, as Christian, but I just kind of, I think I can believe in God myself without having to force other people to think the way I do. And so, like, I think that more often than not, I've seen a lot of, you know, different programs and different, like, you know, places of, you know, thought where they try to instill their own beliefs in a large amount of people. And I just don't think like that. I think you could be religious, or you could be spiritual, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. But as long as you're able to take something from it and carry it into your life, I think that's all that needs to be said for me personally. Like, I don't believe, I think there is kind of a godly force, but I hear it in music, and that's just me, you know.
I feel that.
Hey, would you say in a sense you worship music? Like,
totally.
Music is your religion.
Yeah, dude.
Anything can be religion. You can worship anything and make that your religion.
Yeah, you can have faith in anything. That's what my auntie used to say. Just like, you know, have faith in something. Have faith in someone. For me, you can have faith in this goddamn water bottle if you need to. Have faith in something, because otherwise, what is your life? You know. But what do you think, Warren?
I'm not religious, but kind of like what Elias was saying about like the spirituality stuff in nature and all that. I'm half Japanese, and I spent a lot of my life in Japan. So like I agree with a lot of what you said. Like I don't know, I kind of split myself up into like my American side and like my Japanese side, the way I think and like process stuff. And so, and like a lot of you guys have said, like religion with like some bearded dude up in the class, like that's, you know, that's not what I think of, but I definitely just like with nature or Japan's very I don't know, just as a whole, as a people, they're very in touch with nature and like respecting nature and all that kind of stuff. So with that kind of spirituality, I do kind of feel and agree with, but yeah, not so much the other kind of just religious stuff. And who was it? I think Neil deGrasse Tyson said something along the lines of like religion and like the Bible and all that's good. It's okay if that's kind of what you need to have to believe in, to have faith in or whatever, but it starts becoming a problem when people look to it as like a science textbook, as like how the world should work, and like that's just it. So I kind of agree with that too. Like, you know, it's okay to have faith in whatever you need to kind of get through your life, but it's very, it can get pretty toxic, pretty
This
easily.
is not where I expected this conversation to go.
Yeah, no, I feel that for sure. Like yeah, man, damn.
Yeah.
No, it's like
that was real shit.
yeah. I like so apparently we have no one here who's like hardcore set in their religion and their ways and like goes to, you know, church every Sunday or Tuesday, Wednesday, blah blah blah. But yeah, that's what we got right here.
Well, I mean, they always say that you don't talk about religion, you don't talk about politics because
And we
it's
just
dangerous.
I forced them to talk about it
but
a
you
lot of
know, I
times.
mean, the reason is because it's interesting and it's it gets people upset if they disagree with you, and I think that's something that this group is not afraid of. They're not afraid to say like, "Hey, this is what I believe in." And, you know, your opinion is your opinion, but this is what I believe. And, you know, a lot of people come on this show and we dip our toes a little bit into controversial topics. Not that this is, but, you know, and then the next day they get nervous and they write me and they say, please don't include this because I don't want to upset somebody.
Are we just going to cut the show? Because of you?
Yeah.
We just going to cut the show?
Well,
Did you
you know,
mess this up?
and
Mute every time
it's,
Elias
and it's
talks.
tough, but I mean, but it's also really interesting to learn that. I mean, people see you all playing on stage. They may not even listen to lyrics. They think, oh, fuck, this is like a really great band.
Yeah.
They see you. They have one impression. They don't have any idea about who you are or like what you believe. And you know, I mean, like Tom is dedicated to Jesus Christ.
I am,
you wouldn't know that.
but I think the Bible was written as poorly as the Constitution, so
Hey, nice,
Hey,
nice. There you go.
got
Yeah.
that going
But
right
I
there.
respect
Yeah.
your faith, man. That's cool, man.
written by kind of a bunch of people that are trying to control the power and to hold on
right.
to the thought of spirituality, and that sucks.
Yeah, no, that's what Pete told me in the middle of my freak out. He said, man, Jesus Christ was a real human being.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And all that. And I took that to heart. I was like,
No, and here's the deal about that. If you want to explore that, it's not a question about even calling him for any kind of magic or anything like that. It's a road sign. It's a guide to be Christ-like. It's one of the toughest things in the world to do right.
Yeah.
In your head, you know what's right and you know what's wrong. And it's like I told you guys earlier. Why would you tell the truth when a lie can get you anything? That's how tough it is to be Christ-like.
I feel that.
No doubt.
What was the context of you telling them that?
Oh, trying to get a fifth song recorded.
Yeah. So that led Josh astray a little bit.
Yeah, that's why I
Don't
was
listen
like,
to that
I had
part.
to I had to throw
Listen
you
to
a
the thing he
question.
just said, not the thing he said earlier.
Yeah, I was like, I looked you in the eyes, like Tom said to lie.
Yeah,
Wow.
I said, look, tell him you need
Wow.
to
Conflict. More conflict.
Yeah, I want to hear more music.
Holy shit.
Put the gun in the first scene.
Oh, you and I are,
we're only on the
you're
second
in trouble,
act here.
my friend. We are not in the second act yet.
No,
Controversy.
Let's get it going. We're still setting it up, my friends.
Oh, God.
We got on that because we were talking about you in and out and
Yes.
and
In and
having
out.
conversations
Yes.
and being political and my basic prompt was in a roundabout way like what this group stands for. And it seems like though you're not all a hive mind, you don't all think the same stuff about everything. You do seem to be unified in like we're going to get on stage. We don't care if we get political.
Never once has anybody, I don't think, stepped to me, I don't think anybody stepped to anybody and said, you know what, I don't know if you should say that. I don't know if you should say that. Because everybody speaks for each other and we all speak for ourselves. So if somebody got something to say to me, then I know, P gonna come over and wonder what's going on, as you said, we get up on stage and we're like, promoting the sound, digging the sound, whatever, vibing with the audience, and people are vibing with us. But when we release, everybody's gonna hear every lyric, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna put it out on Genius or whatever we do. And I don't think there's any kind of concern about anybody getting mad over any lyric. We just don't want to be hate-based. We don't want to talk about nobody we no diss songs. Ain't no reason, you know what I'm saying? But to explore topics is what we do,
Mm-hmm.
We all sitting around. We all thinking of what we're going to write. What are we writing about? Let's write about something interesting.
Does anything actually feel dangerous, though? Because, here's the thing. Like, everything is so, stratified now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, you're obviously not going to get people wearing the red Trump hats in the audience.
Yeah.
Obviously, none of those people are going to come to your show. So, and those are the types of people that would be upset about.
I hope we go to them. Let's go.
Honestly, real talk,
let's play Trump rally.
With what you're saying,
Trump rally.
with people that disagree, we all are from the same area. We come from Santa Rosa, and I will say loosely that we are all somewhat liberal in a sense. Like, none of us are overly conservative. Does anyone object?
No.
Okay, yeah. So we all come from the same area. We live in this liberal bubble, and I think we stayed local. Our music is local. It hasn't traveled out far yet. And so once we do, you get to those areas where people actually have that far right thinking, they're not going to be comfortable with it. They're going to feel attacked or offended, and they're going to feel some type of way. But what we want to do is we want to make them feel that type of way because we're bringing it to the table. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't care whether you agree or disagree. We just want you to think about the topic.
Some punk shit.
Yeah.
I want to go back to one thing. You mentioned somebody passed away recently that was extra religious.
Yeah.
Who was that?
It was my auntie, Maggie May.
And she was an important person to you.
Very, very much so. Actually, I've lost quite a few people over the past 2 years, but yeah, my auntie Maggie May. I talk about her in quite a few songs that I'm putting out with this band and on my own solo stuff. And a very, very important person to me. She wasn't connected through blood to me. I call her my auntie because she saved my mom. Her and my mom have a gigantic history that runs really, really deep in my family, and they both went through very, very hard times and found each other in a very, very low place and came out of there, and that was before I was even born. And then, I could go on and on and on about the struggles that they went through, but for real, she just was there for me all throughout my life. She had 6 boys. I was one out of 4 boys with my own mother. There's 10 boys in just this one part of my family, and she always made sure that I was very comfortable. She always showed that she had faith in my abilities, and she was a very, very important person to me. Yeah.
When did she pass?
Last year, the end of last year.
Did she ever get to see this band?
She never got to, no.
Okay.
She heard me rap to her, and I came to her hospital, and she read some of my lyrics, but she never got to see this band.
I appreciate you sharing that because I think these are the things that have made you who you are,
Most
And,
definitely.
I wouldn't have even known that she was in any songs for this group. So I appreciate that. And, it's family. And, Josh, you were on with Karupi, I think 2 years ago. And your family and your heritage has played a big role in the songs that you write.
Yeah,
And, this is a little bit of a lighter prompt, but you've been going by another name when you're featured on Friends releases.
Oh yeah. I have a song with Forehead.
Oh,
Yeah. Tell us about that name and why you chose that name.
I haven't said anything publicly or anything
We're making
put on
news. We're
Instagram,
making
but
news.
okay, yeah. Just if I'm gonna be on a friend's song or something, I just go by Yatere, which is Yasu Yatere, which is a mythological creature from Paraguay. Pulled that my band's name. Kurupi. Yeah, I really wore this. But just had to look at Robert for a sec. But yeah, I just wanted to just represent the culture that I come from and stuff. And Yasu Yatere was always one that I was pulled to.
You got to go deep into what he is. Who is he?
Okay, he's not as exciting as Kurupi, where it's big dick monster. But he is.
Go listen to the Karupi episode if you want to learn about the big dick monster.
Big Dick Monster on T-shirt. Look it up.
For real. Yasu Yatere, basically his whole thing is he protects children. And he, I have a fun story. When I went to Paraguay 2 years ago, I told my grandma that that I was gonna go by like Yatere, like Yasu Yatere when I rapped, and then she was just like casually just like, yeah, I remember when I saw him, and I was like, what? And so she tells me that because the whole thing with Yasu Yatere is, yeah, he protects children, he does all this stuff. He's like this like short, like he's like got like brown skin, kind of like dirty blondish hair, and he carries around a staff and he sings. And his whole thing is my grandma said that when she was pregnant with my dad, she remembered that it was like over 100 degrees and it was really hot, and she wanted to get something from the store to just make something to eat that night. But she was like, you know, she was like deep into her pregnancy, wasn't sure if she was like gonna be able to make the walk from her house to the store with that weather. And so she like walked to the door, and she said when she opened the door, she saw him, fainted, woke up back on her bed, and was just like confused. But then she was still hungry, so she got up and did it again. She opened the door, she saw him again there, and then there again. And then she woke up, and she like, the way she told it to me was that she thought it was a sign that if she went out that night, like, or that day, something would have happened, because where my dad's from, like, isn't the most safest place. Like, so yeah, so that was like the connection of Yasu Yatere for me, and I pulled it.
He's considered to be the Lord of the siesta.
That too.
Yeah.
Yeah. All about like naps and stuff.
I kind of thought he was about like terrorizing children. That was what I read.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. So, and I was going to ask what your position on this was. You've adopted this name, and so please respond.
Children.
Please respond, because the Wikipedia entry makes it seem like he terrorizes.
That's the thing with Paraguay. Like a lot of the myth, because it's all like it's from the Guarani tribe and everything's passed around through spoken language.
Yeah.
So depending on where you go to Paraguay, it's different meanings. Like. Yeah, like in some parts in Paraguay, Curupi is seen as like a hero, like a savior. Other parts you go, he's like a terrible person who kills people and all this stuff. Yeah, so it's like it's all word of mouth. Like if you look up Wikipedia, it might be like, you know, like it's a myth. It's like tall tales, you know, like it's like none of them's like the true official one. Yeah, I
love that story about is your aunt, you said, or
my grandma?
Your grandma,
mm-hmm.
Yeah, reminds me of you. You had an encounter where you. Felt like you saw God.
Yeah.
You don't have to tell the story if you don't want to. But I just love stories like that where, like, you know, your grandma had that experience.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people would hear that and be like, did you really have that experience?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody would hear that you saw God at your lowest moment.
Yeah, that's why I'm alive right now.
Yeah.
I actually destroyed a quarter ounce of cocaine on the Word of God. Whew. Do that now, or you'll be dead in the morning. And, well, how about this? How about I wake up and I'll sell it all. I'll never bite it. That would be spreading the poison.
True that.
Oh, dude. So if you want to live, you gotta get rid of this shit. Wow. And that was it for me. That was I had about a quarter ounce a day addiction going, and I'd lost pretty much everything I had. And when I flushed that shit down the sink, I didn't even crave it after that. It was the damnedest thing. And that was,
this is exactly what I'm talking about. This is the kind of stuff that I bring to this band and I bring to my lyrics. It's like this is the place where I came from. You know what I mean? Like all the important people in my life, they've been through, you know, parts of what he's talking about. It's like that's the kind of, maybe not the message, you know, part of the message, but that's the kind of content that I bring to the Impressions table, because, you know, I want to talk about hard times. I want to talk about where people come from, what it's really like at the bottom, you feel me? Because that's all I saw growing up. I mean, I wasn't in the pits of it, thank God. You know, my mom was very, very strong, got me out of there, but all the people that were most important to me all told me stories of redemption or told me stories of failure, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Yeah, kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah,
that's definitely just like also just like my music is like a spiritual thing, because it's like I feel like I said, like I feel like sometimes when I perform certain songs and certain verses that mean certain things to me about people that aren't here anymore, like I can feel it, like when I'm there on stage and I'm saying it, like I can feel their presence, and that's just like something that always, like, I don't know if you feel that way with.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Go back to what Josh said, how, like, you know, spiritually you can bring someone into music and then embody their presence with your lyrics, or just with lyrics and the music in general. I'm going to go back to when we were at the Arlene and Robert had Move Love already made and he had performed it already, but his family hadn't heard it yet. And I remember seeing his mom, specifically his mom. There was other family members in the crowd, but I remember seeing his mom in the front row with her phone out recording him, and he's rapping Move Love, talking about his auntie Maggie May, and like, dude, seeing tears roll out of her eyes and seeing his whole family just cry, like, it just hit me. Like, I was like, shit, rest in peace, Maggie May. And I've never met her, you know, but I felt for him and I felt for her, and I was like, shit, she's here, you know, like, her presence is here through him. And like, yeah, props to what Josh said, because that's real.
Thank you.
It's been 2 years since you were on this show. And you were on this show, talking to Josh, Karupi episode, right before the Trump election.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, it was the summer of 2016, I think.
The summer of 2016. No, it was this.
Was it summer of 2017?
Because the summer of 2016 is when Eduardo passed. So summer 2017.
No, it was 2017.
Yeah.
Well, never mind.
That's crazy. Oh, damn.
I was like, this
Yo,
is
that's crazy.
Never mind.
Yeah.
Hey, bring it into the EP or the demo that's about to drop with the impressions or whatever.
Yeah.
On Jazz Rhythm and Blues, a song that we've already discussed or whatever. On Jazz Rhythm and Blues, I did talk about Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton.
Well, what I was going to,
I sent that to you. Yeah. Sorry.
Well, I guess what I'll say is this. It's like, I obviously this band is influenced by the country that they live in and the politics of this era. And Trump getting elected was just like an earth-shaking thing for so many people that we know. And I'm just curious, like, do you feel like that event changed you as people?
Ooh.
Definitely.
Definitely, without even
think-
hesitation.
I think the only reason I get, and Joe knows this more than anyone because I ran his ear every time we get in a car ride. But I've never been more into politics ever than because of something like this.
Damn.
Like my whole, I literally could not care less who the president was. Even with when Obama was elected, like the gravity of having a black president, still like politics was just not relevant to me. I could never have seen it in a way that mattered until someone like Donald Trump appears, and it's really hard to explain, but something about seeing someone like that who you think is like, this fictional character that he's almost like, I hate to use he's like the trump card that you would play when you're trying to make an argument, like trying to a caricature of some kind of extreme evil that you'd not want. Mm-hmm. And somehow that person is now the president, with all these ideas that I could have never seen a leader in America ever, having again. And so, yeah, I can say for me, the reason I care and pay attention as much as I do, and I push all these guys, like I asked them, do you know who the candidates are? And some of them didn't know, and I listed them off, some of the people who are running. And yeah, it definitely matters to me a lot.
Man.
Would you say that Donald Trump is the result of Barack Obama? Because, no.
While we're going in.
No, but
no, I'm fine. I say do it.
No, but hear me out though.
All right, no.
In no way.
Right there.
In no way am I saying like Barack Obama caused.
That's
this
the
is
second
This
act.
is uncomfortable conversation. We love
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
I would never answer that
explain
question,
yourself.
but you
You're
can.
sweating.
Explain yourself.
So what I'm saying is like,
All right.
in no way is Barack Obama responsible for Donald Trump.
Gotcha.
I love the fact that Barack Obama was our first black president. That was the best time of my life, best 8 years.
Yeah,
But-
man. Black people.
Yes, but you get the polar opposite. You get the first black president in America, and it is like fucking amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Democrats are like, yes, this is great. But
Your
then,
face, bro.
but then, after Barack Obama's gone,
Yeah.
you got Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. Why does Donald Trump come after Barack Obama?
Yeah, it's a pendulum.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I see you.
You know what I'm saying?
Because we're stuck in a two-party system.
Ex- yeah.
That sucks as
Exactly.
well.
So you got a whole bunch of people who are talking, and then like one part is talking about all the way over here. You just said this earlier, but like one part is talking all the way over here, and the other part is talking all the way over here. But there's a whole bunch of people that are right here, like right in the middle. That's where the majority of people
Where's the party
are.
for them?
Feel me? So it's like it's hard to vote. It's hard to get out and vote, and hard to know what you want to do in your community when the people that are getting on the news, the people who are making the statements, the media people, or getting in the media, those people are extremists. Those people are saying all the things that are way out there, but you don't really have a lot of people speaking out for the majority of people. That's really tough. It's tough to do though.
Yeah, definitely. And to respond,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I wasn't really ready for that.
I wasn't ready.
I'm gonna say
None of us were.
That's the second act right there.
to bounce off of Robert really quick. I wanted to say like when he's talking about this sort of middle ground of politics that's often forgotten in the media today. I want to start by addressing what you just said and say that I don't want to stroke Obama's ego too much here.
Yeah.
He was an okay president. I mean, as a black president, it's great. It means a lot to have that representation, even though I'm only half. And Robert, has that same background too. It's very significant to see that, but he was okay. I don't want to put myself on blast too much, and people come after me. So I'm not going to say any details, but
maybe I'll just say something that maybe you want to say, can't say. I'm not going to overstep. I'm just going to say that I think that people who supported Obama would have liked to see him go as in on his agenda as it kind of seems like Trump is doing.
And of course,
man, Trump is trying to pull the plug on the whole country. What you mean?
What I mean is he's a far right candidate. He's a far right president.
So he gonna do that.
And so and Obama came in, and people were like, okay, things are going to change in a leftward way.
For sure.
And so he did a lot of middle ground measures, which then now that he's out of power and now we have this far right person,
didn't do much.
Well, we look at it now and we're like, gosh, I wish that when our guy was in for 8 years, we would have made the kinds of changes to the left that now are being made on the right.
Yeah.
And I kind of sense that's what you're getting at a little bit.
That was part of it. Like, there's plenty of places where he didn't do enough, and then some where he did too much. Like, I would agree, I would not hesitate to say he may have been a little trigger happy with some of the bombings in the Middle East and other things like that for being critical. He was somehow very hard and very soft on radical Islam, which is a strange position to have, and lots of other things, but I'm not going to get, like I said, too in detail on that. To directly respond to you, though, I would say that, yes, most definitely, the huge backlash, and we can pretend that we were under the illusion, at least I can say that I was, growing up as a child under Obama, that racism was not a thing. That became very clear after they had a chance to replace Obama.
Dude, why did I not? I was not on that wavelength. I was thinking politically, race had a gigantic part to do with that. I had like multiple. I was on debate team in high school, right, when this whole thing happened. So I did a lot of research on the topic. I had debates about this thing, and it's like, bro, race had a gigantic play in that. And when you said that, I was thinking more like a political way, like pendulum, like what he just said. But race had a gigantic part in that. I was kind of taken out of it. I'm much more of a trying to put myself in the middle ground in terms of politics. You can hear that in the verse. I'm like literally like pointing out like Hillary, and then I'm saying like, what did Donald Trump do? What did Hillary do? But I watched a lot of like videos of like Trump rallies, and a lot of videos like portraying the Trump rallies to be like overly aggressive and just really, really racist. And then I watched a lot of videos by conservative or under the channel of like conservative people or Republican people, where they were showing like actual video proof of like them being like hit or seriously like shouted down when they're trying to have a simple conversation. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was this one video that really stuck out of my mind where a guy is promoting his business of teaching people how to use guns. You know what I'm saying? He's like, let me teach you really how to use a gun. You know what I'm saying? If you have a gun legally or even illegal, I will teach you how to use that and how to use it safely. This is my business. It's legit. He has this thing, and he also has a Make America Great Again hat on. And he's out promoting his business, handing out flyers. Somebody knocked his hat off, knocked him down, pushed him to the other side of the street where the conservatives and Republicans were, told him don't come back here. And then when he objected and said I need my hat back and all that stuff, they did this whole game where they basically kept his hat from him. And when they couldn't move him because they were being watched, when they couldn't like push him, and they said don't push me, better not push me, they just, these liberal people with a whole bunch of like Hillary, Bernie people, they like just kind of like got around him and just kind of like shoved him just a little bit at a time. And I was a huge Bernie supporter. So when he fell out, and it was between Hillary and
that was bullshit, man.
I just kind of fell out of the whole thing. I was like, let me go right. It's done for me. I couldn't vote at the time. But I was well, there you go. Okay.
This is where it gets dangerous. These are the conversations where it gets
really
dangerous.
Now.
You know what I mean? We can talk religion all we want, but nobody's going to really give a shit about that. This is the new religion. This is the new religion.
It's been like that in politics for as long as, right out of the gate.
I disagree.
God, you ought to go back to Jefferson and Adams.
In the 90s, though.
I'm talking about all the way back into the early 1700s.
Well, you talk about pendulum swinging back and forth. I think I'm a bit older than you guys. I don't know how old you guys are, but I think you're in your early 20s.
I'm the oldest. I'm 21.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Wait, that would make you like 11 when Barack Obama got
sort of
like 10 or whatever. I remember I was like 8, and my English elementary school teacher walked up to me and said, "This is a big moment for you." Anyway, sorry, continue.
No, I was just going to say, I think you're 100% right, and I think you should make your point. I'm just saying that we had a period when I was growing up and when you were in more of you're in your 30s and 40s, I guess you'd say, where it wasn't quite as vitriolic. You know what I mean? People were kind of checked out politically. It was a little more peaceful, and that is not how we are now.
No, it's really weird. So when Barack Obama was elected, the guy that I've been playing music with for a good portion of my life, his son was absolutely mortified because not because Barack was black, but because he was on the left and he was a Democrat, and this kid was heartbroken. I said, don't worry about it. When I was 17, we had Richard Nixon as our president, and that guy was just using the Vietnam War to keep his presidency alive. And it doesn't get any worse than that, I think. And when he won the re-election again, I was heartbroken. But the pendulum does swing, and that's what I told this kid. Don't worry about it. It's gonna come back and forth. We only have a two-party system. It's just gonna go back and forth forever at this system. And I was righter than I wish. I'm sorry that I can't believe it ended up with. But the fact of the matter is, we would be in almost as much trouble, I think, if Hillary Clinton was elected. I don't think she could handle the world scene that well. I don't think she could handle the vitriol in this country right now. I don't think she can handle the polarization.
It'd also probably be a war, most definitely.
I mean, we would, and there is absolutely that. So, it's going to keep going back and forth as long as we've got this two-party system. I'm afraid that really that's just the way it's going to be. And I have said it, and I mean it. I will not vote for a Republican or a Democrat, no matter what office they're running for anymore. I think that's half the problem, and that takes me out of the game for a while. But I'm over it.
And some people would hear that, they'd get pissed at you.
Well, of course
they would say people like you. Anyway, it's just really interesting. And like when you talk about like a gun guy who's teaching people how to shoot guns, there's some people who would just get mad at you for even like being patient with a gun person, or people would get mad at you for having sympathy for somebody wearing a MAGA hat because they think anybody who wears a MAGA hat is is evil.
Man, people is people, man. People is people.
I think Warren.
I think that's. I think that's a great position. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think Derek and we were just at In-N-Out the other night, and we were talking about this, but it's just...
I told you guys,
even like you said, it just, you got to... Like, when I heard about people getting mad when... Ben Shapiro was like going to colleges, and they just who was that?
Milo.
Milo and Ben, both of them.
Right-wing provocateurs.
Yeah. And they were just like, they didn't let him talk, and I'm liberal, and like I understand why, but you gotta you can't be doing that. You gotta hear both sides.
It gets muddled.
It doesn't help anyone.
No. It's tough.
And then these people who don't want to listen to either side, they just get stuck in their bubble, and then. Right. There's no...
And the question is, what are you afraid of the guy saying? Are you afraid that people are going to believe him? Or are you afraid that he's going to change minds? That you wouldn't let somebody speak? That's saying that you're actually afraid of the guy.
Exactly.
It's rough, though, because I did understand, because maybe I'm too forgiving. Maybe I'm too looking into other people's minds. But the thing is, like, I remember saying those exact same words in a class I was in, and in a college class, too. And it's like, okay, what do you have against Milo? Why are you keeping him out of the school? Because that's what I was saying. I was the one who was like, dude, like, come on, let the guy speak. Free speech, that's what I stand for. That's what we should stand for as a country. But then somebody said, oh, well, what about, hate speech? I haven't read up too much on Milo, you know what I'm saying? But earlier we were just talking about music, right? Communication through music or whatever, lyrics. I said, what did I say? I said, I'm down to say whatever the hell, as long as we ain't projecting no hate speech. And the thing is, if I'm trying to put myself in a situation, if we were at a show and we had a group or a band come on and they were promoting some kind of hate speech, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can't really get a specific, I can't think of a specific because I don't want to go too extreme. But obviously, if there was racist or whatever, like it would be, things would get touchy for real. Yeah. But I don't know. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to put myself in their shoes. Because it's it's not my college. I don't go to Berkeley. Right. You feel me? I don't have to go and be like, well, I'm the reporter. I'm the guy who writes the school paper, so I have to be here and listen to this guy, talk about how Jews don't deserve something or something like that. Something really messed up, you know what I'm saying, that people have a hard time listening to because of the life that they've lived. But it go. I'd have to listen in both sides.
Like the first step to understanding each other more and getting progress of some kind and moving forward would be to like talk it out, like understand each side of the argument.
The first step to understanding somebody is to hear them first.
Yeah, listen.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I just the whole just like not letting them speak because you don't agree with it just is very isn't very helpful.
I know you got something to say. I want to
go
say
ahead.
just really quickly is like, but what if their only intention is to provoke you?
Right.
know?
So then
And
that is where that's like,
and you see so much of that nowadays. I mean, you see like I did not intend for this to become one of these sort of conversations, but I mean, there was a massacre last weekend at a mosque in New Zealand, and that person who did that was a troll. Like, if you read his manifesto, it had all sorts of like provoking little in-jokes. So it's become this like really wild world where there's not good. You know what it is? It's not good faith discussion. It's not like good faith, like the marketplace of ideas or whatever. I mean, you have certain people whose intention is to fire up and to provoke, and I don't know how you do that because
politically
free speech is important.
That's not dumb though. You can I don't know where you go with that, but they're not doing it just to provoke. I think you can find yourself in a dangerous position if that's what you believe. I think the question would be, what do they want? What are they trying to get? Where do they want this world to move?
Chloe, if we're at the boutique, right? We're at the boutique, chilling spot, right?
Yes.
Right? And we have a band come in there first time. Are they allowed back if they get up on stage and start like spitting some hate speech towards whether it be Jews or black people or all this other shit?
Boutique is a house venue.
House venue.
That you guys run.
Are they allowed back at the show? Like, they're not allowed back at the show. Don't come to the show, bro.
I mean,
have you had a band like that yet show up yet?
I don't think so.
No.
You
We had
never,
one-
you
we had
never
one-
would in this circle, but
Yeah,
it's a really great point.
Yeah.
You know,
No, definitely. I'm sorry. go on.
like at least, I don't know, I guess sort of like a probationary period where it's like, okay, you're gone until we can both like come together and try to like figure this shit out.
see, to me, what's interesting is because no one's going to go up there and throw a bunch of anti-Semitic stuff out. Nobody's going to go up there and say a bunch of like straight racist stuff, but they may drop a homophobic slur, and that may really upset some people that are in attendance. And this is where this stuff gets interesting because it's like, where is the line of you are not allowed here anymore? And
For me, there's a
then
firm
that's
line.
dangerous too. That's dangerous too.
Right.
Deciding who's in and who's out. And but then again, it's dangerous to allow people to get up there and spew hate speech. So this is tricky stuff.
Yeah.
No, I mean, like, I'm gonna be like dead ass. Like, if there's like someone who's on stage and rapping, singing, doing whatever, saying some racist or homophobic shit, I would stop it then and there. I would not be cool with that at all. There has been situations where things have happened where certain people have made people uncomfortable, and we've like and have like been either people aren't acting appropriate in a social setting, that we've like talked to them and told them that they're not allowed to come back. And there was actually one situation where we played a show.
Are you about to say what I think you're about to say?
Should I not bring it up? It's
No, continue. I think I know what you're about to say.
No, dude, it was man.
Was it cringy? Was it towards the
was
end of the
cringy,
set?
yeah.
Oh, damn it.
Dude, should I not? Okay, so I didn't. Okay, so I'm trying to defend myself. Hold on. So
We know it's going to be interesting because of this lead-in.
It's some like fuck shit. But so we had like I have a friend who's like a producer. He like he chopped up something and he played like a beat, and we're having like a cipher. So people were coming up and freestyling. You know, James Forehead is freestyling. Elias goes on PhD, and then I go on. We do our verses and everything, and then we're like just like ad-libbing and being like really hype in the back. This kid comes up and he's like kind of shy at first, and he's like doing like the whole like modern triplet. He's like, and he's just like saying stupid, like, you know, he's like, fuck on your bitch, fuck on you, and he's like saying like just stupid ignorant stuff, and then like he's like, then he slips the N-word in, and then like try and like feel the vibe. We're like, we don't hear, you know.
This is a white kid.
Oh, it's a little white dude in a polo cap. You know, he's got no, like, he should not be saying that. He's
and like, you know,
down.
but like I couldn't hear him. I was backstage, so I mean I was behind him. Couldn't hear what he was saying. I was like screaming and hyping and stuff. It just looked bad. And then like he like slipped it at first, then realized when no one did anything, then he starts yelling and like really throwing it in. and then it like the verse ends, and we're like, if we didn't hear a word he said, we're just like, yeah, hey, yeah, and we look over to Robert, and we're like, Robert, do a verse, and he's just like. Yeah. He just giving me that.
That ain't in, bruh. I'm not with that. That ain't in. I'm not gonna push nobody up the stage. I'm not gonna stop the show. I'm not gonna say you can't come back. But that ain't in. I'm not getting on the stage. I'm not getting. On the stage.
I just love that he didn't get negative pushback, and he was like, "Oh, I can say it,
dude." No, he went all in, bro. All cards up front of the table, bro.
So he muttered it, and then he was like,
and he looked around. He's like, just get that, man.
Yeah, he started dropping it.
The best is that there are those people that are like him who just so badly want to say the word.
I get it.
They so badly want it, and it's like that's like a comedy routine. What you just said there. I mean, it's hurtful to hear him say that word. I'm sure, and I don't mean to make light of it, but it is funny that he thought, "Oh, this is acceptable because no one's pushing me off the stage."
I think it. Believe me, I think it's funny. I'm the lightest out of all my brothers, probably one of the lightest of my cousins, and I've dealt with a lot of crap around the N-word and the usage of it, even within my own community. People want to talk about it. My mama don't like me using the word, nobody using the word. Some of my uncles don't like it. Some of my uncles would never use it. Other people use it all the time. So that's a whole nother conversation. But
that's a whole
that's like 3 podcasts later, man.
Yeah, for real.
But for real, I was on the side of the stage, ready to come in, ready to spit a fire little freestyle, have some fun. It was towards the end of the show. Little kid, man, I was so disappointed.
No, what was funny is that I didn't catch, like, in my position, I didn't hear a word he said. I was hyping him up and stuff, and I'm just like, so everything, like, in my head, it's like, oh, we're just having a fun cypher. So when I look and Robert did that, my first thought was like, oh shit, he thought my verse was whack.
Nah,
like, my first thought
I was like, how can my homies do this to me, bro? I was like, how are these people? I was like, this ain't my scene, man. This ain't my scene.
If I could pop in, I think to kind of bring things full circle to the free speech issue and everything else back before. And I'm going to say something that's going to have defending Ben Shapiro a little bit, which I didn't expect to be doing.
Let's do it.
I feel like that situation is a nice, easy metaphor for the need for kind of open platforming and speech, because you have this kid who now exposed himself in front of everybody. Nobody attacked him or did anything crazy or tried to push him off. You can come up to him right now and be like, yo, that ain't cool. You got this whole crowd of people who just heard it. You can look at their faces. You can read, that is now that, or any person, the shooter, to bring in what Warren was talking about. I said, open speech and dialect, whether it's Ben Shapiro or Milo, you want these thoughts exposed. These are the things that, if not coming out, I think, and maybe I'm an optimist here, but when these things are brought out to the public forum, you can easily address them rather than these people hiding in their corners, going to their secret clubs and basements, planning. These are the people who don't get exposed to the light of day with reasonable conversation. At some point, I'd imagine they weren't the extremists from birth. Yeah. And all it takes is really one good conversation to turn them away from that. So I think I guess there's the fear with Ben Shapiro maybe coming on, and he's going to turn maybe our own people against us if you think of it in sides and such. But I really just think at the end of the day, like I said, in a way, like you think that sunlight, exposure is the best way you're going to deal with any of these issues, rather than hiding in the back and stabbing you later.
Yeah, it isn't the conversation that's the bad thing. Yeah. The bad thing is keeping people separate, keeping opinions separate, so that they never touch. So when they do touch, it's like volatile. So
it's really even bad. With Ben Shapiro, and I've followed him way more extensively. He can say some things that I'd say actually I disagree with about 90% of what he says, but I do believe that he believes it, and I address this with Warren in the drive back. And I think it's good that he's out there, and I can actually hear, like, look, this is what a conservative and this many people who are following him believe. Now we can address these things point by point. How do we dismantle them? How do we attack them in a way that is civil, allowing to really, we can hold our own ground and have our own equally as powerful impact that he's having on his group, if we can deconstruct these things and counteract them. And you can't do that if you just say, you can't come here. Now those people are not going to, they're only going to get that, 1 minute clip of him roasting some guy in a little debate thing and not know anything about in depth of what he stands for.
I'd like to clarify though, just real quick, the situations where we have kicked people out of shows.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I don't want to get too much into detail, but there was just situations where a guy has made a girl feel uncomfortable in shows and have been too touchy, and people and girls saying no and stop doing this and continuing, and those are the situations where I've kicked people out of shows and told them not to come back. But that's all I wanted to say.
Oh, okay.
That's totally, I would totally get that. I'm just addressing I'm very much, and I think me and Rob are on the same page here, free speech first over everything. At the end of the day, we got to be able to talk about this stuff, or you're not going anywhere. Honest, straightforward conversation, regardless how much I hate you. like that's the only way you're going to get anything done, I think.
Yeah, man, like on what you're saying, like you got to invite that person to the dinner party so that you can have them say the wrong shit, and then you can tell them like, hey, don't do that because you're wrong and that you're going to get fucked up in public, you know? If they're not invited to the dinner party no more, they're going to be at home with their friends doing all that, and then they're going to go out in public and get their ass beat. You know?
That's real.
That was kind of what I was.
I have had situations like that. You know, not a friend, but an acquaintance of mine that says some stuff just to me, and I'll be like, "Listen, keep it real with you. You cool with me, all right? But if you say that to around the wrong people, you gonna get messed up. You feel me? So yeah, I definitely get that. Really. Is this CNN or is this like a impressions podcast?
Yeah, we get some more music.
It's a little bit of everything. Oh, we don't talk about music on this show.
Well, that never
Sorry,
happens,
you're at the wrong show.
None of that. None of that.
The song "Black and Blue" is a political song, right?
Yeah, I'd say like half of it. It's gonna get more political. There's like a second version coming out. But yeah.
Well, I bring it up because I feel like that song is like the easier type of politics to talk about. You know, there's a message in that song and a message that I'd love it if you could share. But it's this stuff we just talked about. This is hard, tricky stuff that we'll probably never figure out in our lifetime. But Black and Blue talks about stuff that I think most reasonable people would be like, yeah, this is fucked up. We need to address this.
Yeah.
Could you talk a little bit about that song?
Yeah, there was see the thing about the song, the way that it's portrayed and not portrayed, the way that it was put together with the impressions is different from the way that I initially wanted to go about it. Right. I had 4 verses for that song. I had a lot of verses. I was in a jazz class at the JC, and I listened to Black and Blue by Louis Armstrong for the first time. Loved the song and really wanted to write over it. Wrote till I got to that topic, which was Louis Armstrong's initial. That was his topic, and I'm gonna write about that. And so I did. The 2 verses that aren't on the song that we released got more into my personal experience with police brutality, what it means in my personal life, and also the things that I saw through media and TV and internet, whatever, when I was in high school, things that were prevalent then, like Mike Brown and all these cases, to where when I was doing JC in high school at the same time, I had many talks about police brutality and things of that nature. So those 2 verses, actually, I don't use those 2 for this version of Black and Blue, and the version that I use is a little more cutesy, and that was not purposeful. It just sounded really good in the moment. I really wanted to use those 2 verses, but I'm gonna be releasing a song called Black and Tan, which is a play off of Duke Ellington's song Black and Tan Fantasy, and that song is going to go into a very, very deep personal experience that I went through. That's going to be more very, very spot on, and it's going to make people be like, oh, well, this part of the story, oh, well, that's really how it happened. So Black and Blue, though, more towards the end of the first verse, I say it's hard. It's hard. And people will never know, how hard it is. Just like every other experience in this world, something that's personal to you, you can, obviously find other people that have gone through something like it or, whatever. But every personal experience is your own. And I just try to, share as much as I can.
Is it too much to ask about the experience in Black and Tan? Would you rather not share that?
Shoot, why not? Yeah. Well, okay. Well, this actually includes P over there and Josh over there too. But damn. Okay, yeah, I could tell the story. Well, Black and Tan is going to be more focused on the relationship between. What's up, Josh?
Oh, I'm just asking, like.
You talking about?
I'm talking. Thanks for saying the name.
Well, I
appreciate that.
Josh
you
was like,
said,
"What are we talking about?"
I know, but you could have said anything, and now we have a name now.
I don't think
We'd like to cut the name out.
Okay, that's fine.
Shit, okay.
All right, appreciate you. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, damn. All right, fine. Jesus. All right, Black and Tan Fantasy was a song that I recently, got onto. Really, really, really dope song. I really, really liked it. Once again, same exact experience I had with Black and Blue, except it's a year and a half later. I wanted to base the song off of an experience that me and P and Josh went through that, in my eyes, was very indicative of a bigger problem, but also just a really crazy night. So the band heard this months after it happened, but it happened just on a really late night. So we were all chilling. It was me, P, and Josh. We were chilling in Elias's bedroom, and it was really late night. We were watching like stupid funny videos, and we hear 2 gunshots down the street. So I hop up instantly, or at least I looked up instantly, and immediately felt like I needed to go outside. Maybe not go out to where it was, but at least go outside, get a feel of what was happening. Use my ears. I remember P, he opened the door, or his door was open. His dog ran out down the street. He had to go get his dog. He said, I got to go get my dog. Da, da, da. Josh sat exactly where he was and did not move that entire time. So there was another person there. What's up,
my boy Noah.
Okay, so
yeah.
Noah and me connected. We were both on the same wavelength. We said we're going to go out. So we both stepped out. He stepped out first, stepped out second. I stepped out second. We were in his backyard, and I didn't hear no help. I didn't hear nothing. I just heard tires screeching and glass. So I'm like, damn. And I open the gate slowly. I run out to the street. It's a private road, real like big. Like this isn't the city. This is like
we're in Southwest Santa Rosa.
Southwest Santa. We're in Roseland.
Yeah,
so
right next to Moreland. Down the street. So it's a
shit happens.
Yeah.
It's rough. Point is, let me get to this. I run down the street to where I think I hear somebody yell for help, and I get to the end of the street. It was how long would you say that was? But yeah,
how long the street is?
Yeah, not
like
too
good,
long.
20, 30 yards, bro.
Yeah,
It was right there.
So I was running, and I see this was a dude had been shot through his neck and was bleeding out of both sides of his neck so intensely that I thought he had been shot in his chest and in his body because the blood had completely caked his shirt. And I had no idea what I was going to do, and I just told him to lay down. So only me and Noah were there. Elias was getting his dog, and Josh was still in the house. And so it was in the middle of the night. Nobody's out there. He had been yelling and doing whatever. Obviously, he'd been doing it for at least 2 minutes.
Hey, he was banging on the next door.
He was banging on the door.
Yeah, he's
so
trying to
yelling
get
for help. We came. We were the only people that came. Mm-hmm. Nobody else came throughout that entire. We were with him for 5 to 7 minutes. What would you say? We were with him.
It was it felt like long, bro. It felt like 30 minutes.
It felt like 15.
Yeah.
Anyway,
crazy.
Point is, I want to like run through this. So I told him to get on the ground. I didn't have a shirt on. All I had was my black hoodie. It was my Earl hoodie, man. I love that hoodie. RIP my hoodie. But yeah, so I took off my hoodie, and wrapped it around his neck, tried to apply pressure, and he was talking, he was breathing, he was talking to us, but he was shot clear through both sides. So he had been shot through his car and all this, his glass and lights, and it was very, very confusing. I laid him down on somebody's front lawn and, applied pressure, asked him what his name was. He told me his girlfriend's name. He told me what kind of car it was. He told me that it was down the street. We had the same conversation about 4 times with me and Noah, and then Elias pulled up, and Elias also he called his girlfriend, and all this other stuff happened, but it was a crazy moment. This particular guy was a Latino guy. I could tell by a couple of tattoos that he had, and obviously by the situation that he was probably gang affiliated. This was probably a drive-by shooting that was waiting to happen for a while. Wasn't thinking about that in the moment though, because I was telling like a grown man that he was gonna be okay. Like he was gonna go home, everything was gonna be fine. And he's bleeding so much that I have blood all over my chest, my arms, everywhere. It was crazy. So long story short, he lived, and I'm glad to say that, but. It turned out 2 things. One, it took the cops fucking forever to get there, or at least it felt like forever. And then 2, when the cops did get there, so there's this lawn. We're in the middle of the lawn. And there's a very clear spot where he could have gotten parked right there. He could have parked right up against the guy that had been shot, his truck, but he didn't. He parked over by a hedge by the southeast point of the lawn that we were, sitting at this point, there was a whole bunch of people around us, and there's a whole bunch of people out of their homes offering me a shirt and saying what happened, all this stuff. So he comes, and I remember distinctly, he takes the time to close his car door, the cop, and walks over with
moseys
zero urgency.
Yeah.
The cop was the call was from Noah, who was saying this man has been shot through the neck and is bleeding all over my friend. Like this is a big situation. And so the guy moseys on over. He took at least a slight stop to address someone who had been saying, he said what happened, or somebody else yelled to him what happened, or said he got shot, And he, I remember he at least paused for a moment, and I just thought it seemed for so long for me that I yelled almost at the top of my lungs. I said, this man has been shot through the neck and is bleeding all over me. I'm holding him, holding his whole head so that the blood doesn't come out. Cop continues to walk over, uncovers the wound, and then applies more pressure so that the blood comes out of his lungs. And I thought, what in the fuck just happened? I forgive me because I love people, and it's like, bro.
Real talk, bro. You could say, just playing devil's advocate, because I was in that situation. You could say that cop was being calm and collective, He walked over because he didn't want nobody to panic. He didn't understand the situation. Obviously there's a shooter involved. Honestly, I was astonished that you and Noah even ran out to the gunfire, because in my mind, and especially in Josh's mind, it's we know where we're at. There's gunshots every night where I live. It's like, why am I going to run out and get myself shot? What if that shooter doubles back and sees that he ain't dead and fires back? Then you all die.
I've had that exact same thought, believe me, a million times. But the thing about it is the situation called for me at least walking out, hearing the gunshots, and hearing somebody speed up.
And I commend you for that, bro.
Somebody got shot. And then by the time
he did yell help.
He did yell help.
I remember
there was silence for a second. You hear the shots, we stop, and then there's someone yell help.
Man, if I hear somebody yell help, I heard, tires screeching. I'm running. So anyway, got to it, and so I thought that was interesting. I also thought it was interesting that afterwards we collected some kind of information that was pretty solid, that that this particular gang member had a history or whatever, and he also had a history for his reputation was not liking black people, being racist towards black people who lived on that block. He was he was in the area, he lived around there, whatever. And he was known for fighting at least a few black people because he didn't like black people. So I thought it'd be, from my perspective, that what I just told you was very objective. A lot of what I was just saying, I was just telling you the play-by-play. But for Black and Tan, I was planning on going more in depth of where I think that situation lies within my community and my mind.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
I thought you were going to.
I had some, but it does. You said it all.
Well, you lost a friend who did that very thing.
Yeah, right. Oh,
I think that's what you were thinking.
Yeah, that is what I was thinking.
I
lost a friend who did what you did.
Yeah.
He went to aid another friend who had been he got involved in a knife fight, and it cost him his life, and he was trying to help. So I do be careful with that. It could have gone the other way pretty quickly.
Yeah, obviously.
But you did the right thing.
Shoot, man. I think about it as obviously that could have happened. Everybody and their mama after that told me dude, don't be an idiot. You're a young man with your whole life ahead of you. Why are you running out the gunfire?
Were you guys stopped the bleeding?
Yeah, exactly.
The guy probably would not have lived it.
That's exactly what I'm saying. He had been shot through the neck. He was banging on somebody's door for already. It had been 60 seconds. So if we had not ran out to him from where we were, that man's life is gone.
Yeah, no, definitely. Robert he saved his life that night.
Yeah,
he saved his life that night. And what was crazy was that my boy Noah, his uncle owns a towing company, and he got his car impounded, and the dude that got shot went back to get his car, and he was talking to his uncle, and his uncle was like, "Hey, you're the dude that got shot that other night, huh?" Because he saw fucking bandages on his neck, and he saw the bullet hole in the car, and he's like, "Hey, yeah, my nephew actually was with you, and he called it in and saved your life. And he's like, damn, well, can I get his number and call him? And then he's like, yeah. And then this is what my boy was telling me, that he called him and he was like, hey, let me take y'all out to dinner. Like, I really appreciate what happened, blah, 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 this and that. And like, my boy was like, all right, I see what's up. But it's like, of course, like, we are all happy that he lived on and like that he lived his life, but it's like, to go far as like, to get to know him and understand him and like sit at a dinner table with him, like I felt like that was unnecessary, like it wasn't, the situation didn't call for it, like, and my boy was in the same headspace too, like, yeah, we saved your life and all that, but like, we're not friends, we're not best buds, like this was just a random occurrence, and like appreciate you for like going out of your way and like calling and like thanking, but it's like shit, I don't know, I wouldn't want to be at somebody. If somebody got shot, they obviously got enemies, and it's like, to get to know that person, get acquainted with them, that's not necessarily the company that you want to have around.
Shoot, why am I going? Come on now, no offense, I value, life. I value other people's lives like no other. That's why I make the decisions that I do.
I want to just clarify. You mentioned somebody being racist that was involved in this thing. Was it the shooter or was it the person who got hit?
It was the person who got hit.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah,
what a wild thing.
I am I am half African American.
Yeah.
I'm actually, my mother is partially South African. My grandfather is from South Africa, and obviously my father was African American. So point is, me in this situation, I'm trying to help out somebody, hearing that that his past is that he has a reputation as a gang member to go after black people or to hate black people or not to be cool with black people. For that information to get to me through I didn't need it. I wasn't looking for it. And then also the thing with the cop is just, I needed to write about that.
What better way to like wind down this episode than that story? Just like the messy nature of life.
Yeah.
I mean, you saved a guy's life, a good thing that you did. You didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
But then you find out that he's got this background. And it's like, that's impossibly conflicting. Not that you want the man to die. You said you value life, but it's just, it's weird.
Of course.
Normally things are presented so black and white, Bad thing happens, good thing some guys were there to save the guy's life. Everybody lives happily ever after, but that's just not the way life goes.
Yeah, look behind the scenes and it gets a little more complex generally.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, talk about the gun going off in Act 3, by the way.
Yeah.
Hey.
We introduced the gun in Act 1. But, not to make light of the situation, but fuck, I mean, thank you for sharing that story. I think that's I feel like the interview reflected the fearless nature that we kind of opened with your intro. It's like you guys get out there and you do what you do and you're like, this is us, and you're not afraid.
Nope.
And I appreciate that, You have any thoughts before we close?
I got one. This is a coming back around to when last we had Karupi on the stage. I just feel so good that Cole has found the Jazz Cats.
I was going to say.
And he has found an incredible collective of Jazz Cats to play with. So excellent.
You were looking for Jazz Cats?
Yes, he was.
Yes.
He may not have known it at the time, but Tom could tell.
He did know it at the time.
He did.
He mentioned it.
Cole, I'm more of a
Actually, we
jazz
talked about
dog. Is that conflicting?
Ooh.
No.
Oh, okay.
Man of many words.
Well, hey, Impressions 2019, Impressions Collective.
Yeah.
We did it. I like this group because you guys are just like young and fearless, and you are you're really the next generation of Sonoma County artists. You're all Sonoma County people, right? It's great. I said that to you when you were on with Karupi, and this group is got some different people in it, but I feel that way about you all too. Yeah. And I gotta say, when Tom and I first saw you play, we were like, fuck, that is so good.
Yeah.
That is so good. We got to get that band on stage immediately.
It was a great show. Yeah.
And
good vibe.
It's great. You guys are one of the most, in my opinion, and I don't say this to every band, you're one of the most exciting bands coming up in Sonoma County right now. So thanks for putting the work in, because it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate that.
And
thank you.
If you don't believe me, then just keep listening, because in just a minute, a set of music by the Impressions Collective is up next. Thank you guys for joining us.
4 songs. If you want to hear the 5th song, you got to go see them live.
You do. Thank you. Oh, by the way. Thank you for reminding me. You're in big trouble. Thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Black and blue, black and blue, huh? Black and blue, black and blue, huh? Like what did I do to be so black and blue? Everything on me black, but the shoelace blue, and they like who came through in some new suede shoes. Brothers out here rapping fast, but they Usain Booth. I'm not trying to squeeze their chairs out like a toothpaste tube. I'm just mad, chubby nutty like a Rube Bruce. Big fro, my cheeks rosy like a bouquet too. But lately I've been trying for a true great, feeling like I'm a huge waist dude. I'm like that blue paint still, and they like who face who in that cool day tall like this. Juve Jew up in that roommate bro, but it's just me in this room thinking about who they call when they feel like this, when they feel like balling. It's so minuscule, you don't know how small. Who gives a fuck about what project is do late fall? Could not tell the time if you had 2 clocks, so you ain't gon' egg lost when you are Matthew Fox. In this system of a system of a system I mock. This lyricism is the only fucking ism I'm rocking. This shit's a prison. I ain't even talking about the shit that the blues put the blacks in. Yeah, they get packed and brothers learn to read in the penitentiary. Slaves to their graves got a whole new meaning. It's on your forearm, it's on your thigh, dog, it's on your face. You better fucking believe that shit. Whoa, black and blue, black and blue, huh? Hey, black and blue, huh? Like, what did I do? Fuck that. What did we do to be so black and blue? High five, a clap, a dapper do. Surpass them what I have to do. Sky's close as black and blue, like your badass was after school. Why you so sensitive? Offense that been Mac could do, swing it to the west, and I can show you what a Mac would do. 4 sacks, 3 sacks, 1 sack, and 2 copy care. If you had to proof, copy care. If you're black and ruthless, who steps to who best? Who tests the new threat? And who gets the, who gets the crown? Who gets it? Fuck it, dog, pass it all around. Lick the sound of my people, lick the people to my sound. That's black and blue, black and blue, huh? Black and blue, huh? Like, what did I do? Fuck that. What did we do to be so black and blue? Yeah.
Yeah. This girl so fine, she took a piece of mine. Travel around the world and now I see her through the blinds. Thinking that I see her through the corner of my eye. She ain't got no limits but limited in supplies. Every time she walking in, the whole room rise. And when she walking out, I swear the whole world dies. Lovely little lady, but you pay a deep price. Happy on the left, but then you broken on the right. This makes moves conducing to highs. Dopamine and blue don't grow when love flies. My soul won't be bored, so rise. Lady, love my heart, she breaks ties. Cleverly, Beverly, moving incredibly, got that hoe. Sending letters, no exes, I'm begging, please come home. Like to miss your motivation, but you just not grown. I was thinking about the times when you was on. Now I'm sitting by myself and I'm all alone. Yeah, yeah, all alone. Yeah, all alone. Yeah. Excuse me, miss. The glisten of your hair just caught my eye. Yeah. Excuse me, miss. The glisten of your hair just caught my eye. Yeah.
Met this artsy girl through mutual friends and classes. Always laughing, striped shirts and fake glasses, and same shorts made art for my work. And after that night she told me I'm yours. Fast forward, we be seeing each other a couple months, seeing up that honeymoon phase. Laying down in the dark with that smooth shit. Music set, lips met, then press play. Summer came and left, and then it got us stressing. Roads and life were set a separate direction. Friends said I was set in my ways, hoping that she stayed, not wanting to change. But she heard the phone ring, said all I could say. She said we need her. She got me crumbling, couldn't speak, now I'm stumbling. Got me feeling so dumb for this youngin' that she be running with fuck. Calm down, don't overthink this overly worrying. Jealousy is hard to beat, we just two different peeps. We just two different, she told me. And when you're feeling blue, I hope you think of these lines. And on those days you ain't feeling yourself, remember this rhyme. Remember this time when everything just felt alright. Cause it's tight, but shit just fluctuates, and soon you'll be fine, yeah, alright. Me soul be feeling some type of way. I'm sending her positive thoughts and giving him space. I'm hoping him the best, but we ain't on the same page. Too different, we hurt each other, but I still miss those days. Yeah, hey. But I still miss those days. But I still say, excuse me, miss. The glisten of your hair just caught my eye. Yeah. Excuse me, miss. The glisten of your hair just caught my eye. Yeah. Whoa. Cutie with a booty at 10 o'clock, and it's 10 o'clock English class. Finna get caught gawking at this curvy ass female mom moving slow like it's retail. I'm not working, man. My morning shift been devoted to lurking. It's been devoted to looking. Ay, goodness gracious. Ain't no doctor, can't be stuck here losing patience. But then I gained some, brother scared of a no call back. As much as I watch Nick at night, man, I know that she all that. So I gave up on that thought for a while. Wrote some rhymes about her, seen it in the hallway, cracked a smile. I was big chillin' on my paper, practicing my slick talk when she walked over and said, hey, Robert, how you doing? I said, I'm coolin', writing some lyrics. Said she heard me rap one day, she really wanted to hear it. Wondering if every sentence is just the right line. She says, how you know what to say just at the right time when I flow? Lil' mama say that the flow potent, not a lick of drama. She know she got her own focus when I come over. Mama said to keep the door open, huh? Then mama said to keep the door. Excuse me, miss. The glisten of your hair just caught my eyes. Yeah. Excuse me, miss. The glisten of your hair just caught my eye. Yeah. All alone. Yeah. Mama said to keep the door open. All alone. Yeah. Mama said to keep the door open. Whoa. All alone. Mama said to keep the door open. But I still miss those days. Whoa, tell me like what's the aim? The aim, make America safe for Americans and step within the mind of escapism. Psychomanning its rewards for the quick in terms of satisfaction. Like SA, scamming silence with malice, retaliation and action. Pass an election, prohibitions restricting for safety. But does it happen like overreactions, BM drugs, so cowboys laughing like Stepping the beat to the collapsing planet. President setting his slogan to keep cool with Coolidge. Choose escape with a waste, forget the pace of the past. The last word that the masses, societal classes laughing. Trapping what has happened, we'll crack him in the snoop. Let the news learn what Lily's lose. Norma Gibson goes and booze, still turning Columbus and move. Errands of the sun with positivity chew. You abuse, giggle juice, savage shoes with jazz, rhythm, and blues. Hey, jazz, rhythm, and blues. Whoa, jazz, rhythm, and blues. Jazz, rhythm, and blues.
Whoa, hey, what was Bill's wife doing in the civil rights movement? Where was Donald Trump's ass in the Vietnam draft? Say this and I say that, and they say that people change. Before I got no breath, show me depth, show me range, show me character. More y'all go to war, the more I stare at you, the more I hold my head up. Y'all don't represent America. Parents and parents barely parents, too much merit. You're the reason for indifference. I'm not different, I'm the same. Quicker to this ignorance to ease my mental pain. Quicker to this ignorance to ease my mental pain.
Hey, whoa, hey, whoa, jazz, rhythm, and blues. Jazz, rhythm, and blues. Jazz, rhythm, and blues. Jazz, rhythm, and blues. Hey, hey, whoa, this is nothing but your weekly service announcement. I've been thinking about the words pour out like a fountain. Dive into the water, I can swim, never drowning. Cast out, outcast over the mountain. This is how I feel, leaves falling through the field. Mine is on the money and the money on the mail. Pave your own path, put your future on the sale. Listen to the groove, tighten up and not the news. Politicians broke the truths, now I'm caught up in the blue. Blue skies, pray for the light misused. Late night nonsense, auto coming soon. Late night nonsense, auto coming soon. Whoa.
I've been on my lonesome for some time, all of my own, a long way from home. Whole lot on my shoulders, whole lot on my dome. Fuck a knick-knack, throw a dog a bone. I'm way out of my zone, but fuck it, I'll be alone with. I've been on my lonesome for some time, but I've been out here getting it a lot longer than you, stronger than you. I'm not one stronger than two, we like 7 stronger than 8, 9, 10. I've been rhyming, I've been gone, play gone, run, cut the chains, undercut the main. But what's the aim like? Hey, what's the? Hey, what's the? Hey, what's the? Whoa, tell me like what's the aim?